Sorry, you said you're in Georgia? Where'd you go?
No, no, not. Oh, even worse than Georgia. I wish I was in Georgia right now. Yeah,
Where,
I'm in Oklahoma. That's where I went to undergrad.
like, I wish I was in Georgia. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just out there, you're staying with family? Or did you just go for the culture?
Oh, definitely the culture, the food, the atmosphere. I wanted to be surrounded by people with
Like-minded
trumpets,
gentlemen
masks.
such as yourself? I don't know, because I guess you weren't bartending, like, right up until... Right? Hadn't you had, like, a break from bartending? I think you were
Yeah,
working.
because I
Into, like,
stopped at the rooftop, and then I was doing like an office job, just being
See, it was
more.
like the opposite for me. I feel like the second I like, sobered up and like wasn't in the bar every day, fucking like just all the overstimulation. Like I also haven't been unemployed since I was like 14 years old.
Mhm.
Like no joke. Like
Yeah.
that was like with the exception of traveling, like when I met you, I and I've been at the same bar for 8 years. So
Oh
like on one
damn.
hand, I was lucky that I could go do stuff like that, but
Hmm.
I've never not worked. It was like I caught up on like all the Saturday morning cartoons I never got to watch when I was a kid. And yeah, I feel like I was hydrated for the first time properly since I was like, but I could see, I think it was the opposite for a lot of people that worked like 9 to 5s, and because they were like, I'll get drunk, I'm gonna drink out of this sippy cup on a Zoom meeting, and I'm like, I drink out of sippy cups every single day of my life.
I admit I didn't do that because I knew because I was just like I know what getting drunk every day would be like kind of doing that at work every time you go to work.
Right. And
So
it's not
as
like we don't know how to multitask.
yeah. And so I'm like, the worst thing I could be doing is saying, like, let me just throw this time away to just get completely wasted every day. Like, I know what
Yeah.
that would lead to. Yeah.
No, and it's also like, I don't know. Like I think we don't like hobbies are like some things adults are supposed to have, right? Like I learned how to knit kinda.
Yeah.
Like it's just like all that stuff that like a little bit like I bought a needle and no. Like,
Did you have
it's
a
not there.
did
I
you
didn't
have a
officially I
interest
know
before, or did you actually
conceptually how to
knit
knit. What'd you say?
before the pandemic? What sparked your interest? Did you want to knit and just never did
No,
it?
hell no, I didn't want to knit.
Oh.
I'm being so hyperbolic. I bought yarn and a needle. The intention to knit was there.
Okay.
But I did work like on a lot of stuff that I would normally let fall by the wayside. Like I'm really passionate and into cooking, and like I was like, sure, and I didn't even know anyone to. Well, I have two friends that live 2 floors below me that I actually coincidentally work with. So they just got like all of my experiments. Like that was really fun.
I mean, I saw it on Instagram. They looked phenomenal. I thought that's always been a part of your repertoire. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I always like cooking, but I like no one has time to just like sit there. I'm like, well, maybe if I sous vide butter and coffee together, like I'm just doing shit. Because why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Like, because you won't like there's you. So it was just like inspiration that I just based on the sheer amount of like hours to fill, but it didn't feel that way for me.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
agree.
have that, like, especially living in New York, like, I feel like I didn't have that false sense of urgency that's, like, super hyper instilled in us um, all the time. Like, the go, go, go thing. Which I think is, like, an American thing, but also specifically a New York thing, you know? Um, like, even the fact that I felt guilty for, like, accepting the government aid when there was literally nothing I could do about it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it was just, there's so many things that I unlearned through the process that I was actually really grateful
Oh
for it.
yes, yes.
Yeah, my cat's here. Say hi, Carl.
Hi.
She this
Is she?
this is my quarantine buddy.
Uh, so you got her during quarantine?
No, I've had her. She's
Oh.
so fucking old and got fatter than she was before. She also was reaping the benefits of me cooking. So, um, but I know that like there was like it affected. I think that if we had kept going for longer than we had, because I feel like there was like 2 months of like intensive like rigorous like shutdown, and that's while again like I enjoyed the free time and like
So your
getting
bar
to
was shut down officially, like didn't go to work for a couple
yeah.
months during
And
that
to
whole
be
time.
honest with you, yeah, like we've gone the gambit like a lot longer than like than a lot of other bars. Like I know that just opened like in the summer when they were allowed to have outdoor seating, but like we opened back up in like May, so it was pretty fucking early in the game. Our sister bar didn't shut down at all, but they're just gangster. I don't even know. Like I was like, aren't you worried about? Because I also actually had COVID, so it was like kind of a good thing that like I was actually sick. So I was like, thank God we didn't like power through it. But yeah, I don't know. There's some bad ones over there. I have no idea how they just like push through that. But it's also like it's not. There's so many like different walks of life in that industry that it's like everyone's needs are so different. Like they spend like just the amount of like undocumented people alone in like the service industry. Like I mean, fuck, there's 500,000 of us in that they know of in New York, and I'm sure there's another 100,000 that like, you know, don't use real information because they don't want to get in trouble or what have you. Like,
I feel so bad for the kitchen staff. That's what,
I'm not even the kitchen staff. Like the staff that I work with is like predominant. I mean, yes, absolutely. I feel bad for them too. I work with predominantly, like I'm like the only American at my job. I work with like predominantly like Irish people. So like, no, it was like just for anyone from anywhere that couldn't get that like, you know, that additional help from the government, which we shouldn't have been like. I feel like people are like of course I'm grateful that happened, but I feel like every other country in the world is like, yeah, of course you're gonna give us help. Like you're shutting down everything. Yeah. In America, like thank God. Like what could we have done without Daddy, Uncle Sam, like whatever.
Because it never happened. We wouldn't.
I was like, they kind of gave us $1,200 to fuck off 9 months ago. Like, it wasn't really like I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth. I think I'm looking like a trash possum that accidentally left at 20.
Yeah. I am not looking at that $1,200 was a gift. It has been a 10-month of like the world that no one in this lifetime has ever experienced. And you think I'm going to be grateful for $1,200?
Right? Like, I'm not about to get down and lick your boots for this. Like, it's also, I mean, now you know, the bar is like up and running. There's all these bullshit restrictions, but I can still scrape together like enough. You know what I mean? But my fucking employment without the bonus is $156 a week because we're a cash money lifestyle and we're just like not in the business.
Wow. So you didn't even get like the full New York max unemployment because of the.
I make more than it looks like I do on paper. Like, which is like the one time it hasn't worked out for me, which is fucked up. No, and I feel like everyone was like on this kick, like they were like, "No, it's socialism," and I'm like, "Yeah, but socialism, like,
it's kind
I'm
of
not even getting into the political aspect, but it's literally just like the only thing, like it's the only way to get out of this situation, really." And it's still not even refined socialism. It's like super crude beginning phases.
Yeah, getting by.
Yes, socialism. But I mean, like, I feel like I was a lot luckier than most, just because I had some savings. The one thing that was crazy, though, was right before, back probably in, like, December, right after I met you, right after I got back from Amsterdam.
Okay.
I started looking in earnest to buy my own bar. And I was, like, shopping around for it. And then kind of Christmas kind of derailed us a little bit. And then, whatever, things just didn't play out. But then 3 months later, this happened. Yeah. And like I still have heart palpitations occasionally from like the thought that I almost like gave all of my money, and it was in like Ridgewood. You know what I mean? Like it was like in a place that I knew to be up and coming now. Yeah. But now in Manhattan, it's like
now that everything's going down. Because I know Ridgewood. I was right over by Bushwick near Ridgewood. I know exactly, and it's so up and coming.
Dude, I was looking. It was like by no type of train line. Yeah. I mean, it was a cool spot. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Like, but like it was like I was like, inevitably like this like ripple effect of everything will make it so this neighborhood is like a destination or whatever. And I just can't believe how lucky I was that I didn't put everything on the line like that. Like my life would be so different.
You would have lost all your savings and invested in something that is guaranteed to fail. Like,
dude, I was gonna buy a food truck too. Like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, and it did. It like kind of scared me. I've just always assumed that that was what I was going to do because I've been in the service industry for so long that I just assumed
I know what
one
you
day
mean. Yeah.
to buy, right. Like I didn't really see, I'm not college educated or anything. But it really like forced me to examine how hard do I want to work like the rest of my life. You know what I mean? And it's like, when I was fully in the swing of things before this like forced pause, I was like, I'm going to bust my ass. And then eventually I'm going to be like a, you know, like a service industry tycoon and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I had that motivation. And then just everything, just the process of lockdown really just made me examine my priorities a lot, I think, for better or for worse.
Okay. I mean, where do you see that going? Because I mean, it took me, 6.5 years getting through school, and I bartended through it all to where I thought I was eventually going to be kind of your mindset, even with the degree,
Right.
just because the experience I had. But I then was afraid of the exact position you were almost in. So,
I mean, for one thing, I'm going back to school. But here's the thing, like, I feel like there's still a possibility that I could go back to that. It's just, I hate that, like, narrative that, like, you're not accomplished if you, I mean, like, I know to say that you own a business is, like, a thing. It's just not, like, the progression most people would assume is responsible. And, like, it is fucking hard. Like, it is, like, meant to be in no way disrespectful to people that like still want to do that. If anything, I have like entirely more respect for you. I'm just kind of salty that people were right. When I started bartending, I was like barely, even 21.
Yeah.
And people were like, just be careful, you're gonna burn out. I'm like, fuck off. I make so much money. I was like 3 years old. And then like sure enough, like I got older and was like, I am not supposed to make a sound every time I get up, whether it's like me being like ugh, or like
the knees
like like I should not be like just making noises every time I have to move. And it is like, it takes like a physical fucking toll, and there's no disrespect in staying in that world as long as it's worth it for you, but it is fucking difficult. So I sold out. And now I'm going back to school, and but obviously I will always be grateful to bartending for the life that it gave me. Like, I think I'm definitely not gonna make as much. Whatever I do, like I'll just get to sit down while I'm doing it, which
Oh, okay, a little sidetrack. What do you have a interest in what you're going back for? Do you know? Yes.
Yeah, totally. Like, I mean, I've always been like a pretty avid reader, but I got really into everything, like anything that you could read over quarantine. But like, I started reading like medical journals and shit. I was like, this was towards the end where I was like, all right, this might start to get old. It was like either that or knitting, right? So I started reading a lot of like psychology case studies, and I just got really into it, especially because everyone seemed to be struggling with like their mental health issues, which are the most visible I feel like they've ever been.
Because people don't like to care about the brain because they can see if your elbow's swollen or
right, of course,
but they don't like to.
It's just wild that the different effects it had on people. Because on one hand, like, yes, I was stressed out about money. Yes, I was like, obviously like just everyone was like going stir crazy, but it had the opposite. Like, it didn't have a profoundly bad effect on me because I got to take myself out of an overstimulating environment that does cause anxiety. Whereas a lot of other people who need a break from their day-to-day, like, they'll go out to blow off steam and stuff like that. They have like these like structured lives.
Yeah.
I could totally see how that would fuck you up really bad, So it was just so interesting to me how everyone was processing it. And so I started reading all these case studies, and if I'm gonna go back to school, I'm gonna go all the fucking way. I would just refuse to let people be right. Like, I'm literally gonna go back to school so I don't take a pay cut from bartending. And if I have to become if I have to get a fucking PhD just so I don't have to admit that I was wrong.
Yeah.
I don't care what it takes, all right? I'm just never gonna let anyone be like, I told you so.
See, or at least what I want to do while like in the movement is, and bartending, because bartending, you're gonna work your ass off. Yes, you're gonna work a lot of hours, and you're gonna make a shitload of money. Like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sacrifice that for making good amount of money and not wearing like work as least as possible to make a livable income. Like
exactly. Like I have never. It's. Yes, I was like, when you are that young, and especially being that I'd never had money before, like I was pretty, I was never seen that much money in real life unless it was in like an illegal situation. So like when I was that young and I was starting to make this like in more money than I'm pretty sure I just got drunk and went shopping for a year. Like I was just so young and I didn't like know, what to do with it or how to be responsible with it. And I did have that super money hungry attitude where like I was like, no matter what, I just want to stockpile creepy bundles of money like everywhere in my apartment and like feel secure. Like that's how I felt I could give myself security. And now I mean they're in a bank account now, but now that I've like had enough time to experience that and realize that there does need to be a balance. I guess I'm pretty adamant about the same thing. Like I'm like, no, I definitely need to have a life before I have work. Like, I don't know, just don't.
The money will be there, kind of.
Yeah, like I'll find, like, if I did it before I found bartending and I was that poor, like I can definitely find a way now that I'm in like a much more advantageous position and I'm older and I know how to get shit done, and I'm grateful for where I dropped off. The only thing I'm mad about now though is that I kind of have to work just to get myself through school or whatever. Not as much. I'll probably go down to part-time, but right now it's just a matter of keeping the actual bar open.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's really for like the good of just keeping it afloat. I am still trying to work. I clearly need boundaries that a bar
from the lifestyle of bartending.
Yeah, right. Yes, like that lifestyle, like clearly just isn't working out for me.
Yeah.
My fucking blood pressure is crazy. Like I feel I quit smoking like almost entirely during quarantine, and then the second I like started again, I was like, ugh, like, and so I wanted to go out in like kind of a blaze of glory after working in the place for 8 years. Like not like I fuck you, I quit and like throw my staff shirt down or something. But like I really like after 8 years, I felt like I owed it to the place and to myself to be like, yes, I'm moving on. Nobody cry. Like, you know what I mean? And now it's like no one gives a shit. Like we don't even have like heaters outside right now. Like if anyone even. No one would notice if anyone quit right now,
And it's like you thought you put in all this work, I put in
all this work.
8 years to this place.
8 years, and all I wanted was for one person to be like, you really helped me or something. And like I was absolutely being a total fucking martyr about it. And now I like literally just can't. Like if I was like, guys, I think I'm gonna quit. They're like, oh my god, do you know how many people need a job right now? You know what I mean? So I'm just like, all right. I'll stick it out. I'll stick it out for the glory. One day.
I do want to say, yes, at 8 years you would get like a bouquet and stuff normally, but at least
8 years is a long fucking time to listen to the same people's problems.
But I'm saying, every place I left, I thought I was irreplaceable. But even if they're not as good as you, you're replaceable. That's kind of where I'm like, no matter how good.
I've learned that just by having that attitude, you are in fact replaceable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've totally thought that before. And I think that's what, again, and this is just super petty, is like, it is a bummer that the working conditions are trash. Like, we don't have heaters right now. Like, my boss just stopped ordering whiskey. And it's like, it was already like a fucking...
An Irish bar, he just stopped.
It was already a terrible dive that, at least one thing was... Dude, 3 different times our toilet seats have been stolen. Like...
Who
What is exactly like? Just I had to clean 2 dead birds this week. I don't even know where they came from. Like everything is a fucking mess on like the best of days. And my boss just has like given, like, he's like, no, well, it's, you know, it's hard for all. And I was like, listen, I understand your plight, dude, but like, I'm going to be here. And chances are, I like, because I've been there for so long, it's mostly regulars. Yeah. The second they walk in, I have to be like, we don't have your first through fourth choice. What I can do is maybe borrow something from the bar next door and then mix it with this diet version of a soda you normally drink. Like, it's just like putting like Band-Aids on broken windows, and like it's getting real fucking old. You know, like,
well, it's 10 months, or minus the close, 8 months of doing that. Yeah.
Well, this motherfucker had the audacity to be like, oh, try and get him to pay cash. And I was like, not only do we have to make them order food, it's technically we're not supposed to let them use the bathroom right now, but fuck that. I don't need there's already a bunch of homeless people that pee on our like outdoor structures. I'm not gonna like make it so like the customers do it too. There's like, we have to force them to, like, if they stand up without a mask, we have to yell at them. They have to sign in to use the bathroom. We have to take their temperature. This weird fucking gun. Like, everything is so weird, and and my whole job is to make you feel like you're having fun and shit. Like, I'm not gonna also be like, hey, would you mind running to the ATM? Like, after all that.
Yeah.
I would be so annoyed at the end of all that. Like,
that's what, like, as a bartender, that's what I used to tell. It's like a DJ at a club. I used to feel like when I bartend, that's like I control that. And if like everything, all the odds are against you, like I'm just hoping you want to sit here, like, and order another drink.
I said that to, like, there was like a really good group of regulars there yesterday, and like someone had reserved the one table, and they were like, I panned over, there's a bar right next door. They've got this beautiful setup they decorated for Christmas. They basically mimicked their inside bar on the outside. And I just took like a slow pan over video to like, I was like, this heating lamp is like the equivalent of like, it's the heat lamp representation of like, if your friend in high school is like, do you want to go to a party? And then you get there and there's a guy who's like suspiciously older and he's just sitting with like a bare mattress with no fitted sheet on the ground with like a 30 pack of like Natty. Like, that's what my bar looked like yesterday. So yeah. But my regulars still stuck it out, and I was like, guys, I'm really happy. Like, I'm really grateful for you. Like, that's real cool of you. But why?
Yeah, but because I would not be.
Why are you doing this kind of thing? They didn't really have a good answer. They were like, oh no, just spot it out. Like, we have to. So I am really grateful for them. I'm a bartender, and I still get frustrated with like below. You know, I get it, and I would never say anything or tip poorly as a result or anything, but yeah, it's like a little annoying if I want to go to more than one bar. Like, how many plates of fries do I have to eat? You know, like all these. That was the worst. Right now, all we have is hot dogs.
Oh gosh.
I know, dude. I fucking hate hot dogs on the best of days.
That's like, now it's like, I'm not.
I hate hot dogs. I miss smelling like beer. And like just the regular bar smell, like every time I come home and take off my clothes, it just reeks like.
Because everyone orders hot dogs if that's all you got.
They don't have a choice. I just put them down on there. I don't even ask it because it's their only option, and they have to get something. So I just fucking lash them with hot dogs all day. Because we've gotten in trouble. Like the SLA, which is the state liquor authority, is like out for fucking blood. Like they come around.
Oh, you gotta have food because of outdoor. You can't be a bar, just a bar. Wow.
Over the summer. Yeah, it's I mean, like, I'm sure it's much different in, like, because New York was, like, the epicenter at one point, and, like...
Oh, yeah, I know. I spent the whole time, yeah.
And I feel like Oklahoma probably, just for sheer, the fact that they're just, like, spread out more or whatever,
and Republican.
Trumpy, like, I don't think it's got to not be nearly as strict. Like, I'm sure, even in New Jersey, I was just where I'm from, I was dining indoors, like, a week ago. And they definitely were not holding it to like a 25% capacity. No fucking way. Like, so because New York is so strict. Yeah. But it's also the place that bars need to be the most. You know what I mean? Like, that's like so much of the economy there.
That's all you do in New York.
That's what it's there for.
Because you don't want to go to your apartment with my 4 other roommates. Like I was.
Dude, look at my apartment. Like, this is that. That's my whole apartment right here.
Oh, okay.
Like, where are we gonna?
I'm
Yeah,
like,
no, I don't.
this is just my upstairs. I mean downstairs. I have a whole nother floor with 2 bedrooms for half the price I was renting a room in New York.
Fuck off. I mean, this is like, and my apartment's like, people are like, wow, so spacious. I'm like, I guess, like, like first.
Well, you live in Manhattan, so it is for Manhattan.
No, it is. I mean, it's a little ridiculous. My rent's like $2,000 a month, which before the pandemic, everyone was like, "Oh my God, such a steal." And now I'm like, I'm not fucking paying $2,000 a month. I'm not resigning my lease. It's so cheap. That's the one upside to this economic downfall that we're about to face.
Oh gosh.
But anyway, yeah, the SLA was like not helping when they were just walking around fucking. They took a picture of me from like a not cool distance away. Like it was like a very creepy, grainy picture that they took in their car because I was took a sip of water and I had my mask down for a minute talking to someone and they took a picture of me from like 500 feet away. It was like all zoomed in and like stalkery. It was crazy. And I was like, yeah, my bad, definitely. Like I should have had my mask on, of course.
But
I was taking a sip of water. Like, what do you, come on. It's like clearly not even about what it's supposed to be about anymore. Like I don't know if you're trying to just.
You're being a paparazzi for the pandemic.
Yeah. And it's like, this whole situation is shitty enough without trying to make, I'm not like I'm not denying that the vaccine exists. I'm not like, I'm not one of them. I'm just saying like, people are doing the best they can.
Yeah.
You know, and also let's be real. Like if you're at a bar, you're not doing the best you can. and I'm not judging. Like that's
you're at work. Yeah.
I go to bars because I feel like as an adult I can take accountability for myself and like I also still have the antibodies some fucking how, even though I got sick in like April, just probably because I work in such a gross bar. But like,
just keeps coming.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think that there's a certain level of personal adult responsibility. Like that doesn't mean just because you feel comfortable going into Target you shouldn't wear a mask, because that's not just
that's different.
You know what I mean? And you have to go grocery shopping and you have to walk your dog and stuff like that. So when I'm out, I always do. At the bar when I'm working, absolutely, but it's also like people don't need to be in a bar. I'm glad that you're here and I'm happy to serve you. I'm not like, but it's just, if you get sick there, it's kind of like you were choosing to be
at the
I hope nothing bad happens to anybody ever, not just now, but like, or maybe some people, but not because of COVID. Like, but again, like you're a grown ass man, I'm a grown ass woman. They're all grown ass men and women. I don't really see the problem with that. It'd be one thing if the rules made more sense. I feel like if they were actively cutting back on cases, but clearly they're not. They just. I can only speak for New York, but I think Cuomo knows better than to shut absolutely everything down before Christmas. I think he'll probably, because if you notice, he walked back, or I don't know if you're paying attention up here, but he basically like walked back all the privileges that we'd earned by having it go down. Like it was first we allowed you to go, and then he let us do outdoor dining, and then he let us do 25% capacity.
Back in May and June,
later and stuff like that. So now he's just walking backwards to the point where we can only do outdoor seating, and it's like, but that doesn't make any sense. Like it's like our structures have 3 sides. I get it's still technically the open air, but it's like some of them don't. Like some people just put like tents on the outside. Like they just took the inside and put it on the outside. The getting food thing didn't make any fucking sense. Shutting the bars down at 10 doesn't stop a virus from spreading.
Because clubs aren't open anyway, so.
That's what. Do it all or don't do fucking anything. That's that harmful. Like stop acting like this is for our benefit. If you don't want us to work, then give us money to stay home. But if you are not going to do that, then people have to make a fucking living. It's easy to say. It's easy to be like righteous if you have the circumstance for it, but like not everyone has the option. Like, there's I've seen it there be a divide on like a lot of bar owners, just a lot of people in the service industry in general, and it's like, well, we're shutting down because we feel like it's like the most responsible thing to do, and other people are like, I don't even know how I'm going to pay my own rent, let alone this bill, like this bar's rent kind of thing. And I just don't think anyone should be judging anyone
Definitely
right now. It's
during
just,
the
unless you don't believe it exists, in which case I'm gonna judge the shit out of you. Fucking stupid on your own time. I like, obviously I know it's real. I just wish that the things that were implemented would actually stop people from getting infected. Like, if you fucking buy a plate of fries at a bar because you have to have food on the table and you're eating them and sticking your handbag in them and you're sharing fries, doesn't that kind of make it worse? Like, it's just shit like that I'm like, wow, you're just doing this to like look like you're doing something, basically. Like, none of this makes any fucking sense.
Oh no, like I talked to a teacher and she said they had to quarantine the books. I'm like, you can't even wipe it down? They're like, no, they had to quarantine the books for a certain amount of time.
And they live on surfaces like books for that long. I know that like metal is a thing or something. Kind of rusty on all the medical journals I read over quarantine. But I thought I don't. They quarantined the book. Where did they quarantine the books?
Like in a area of the classroom. Like when, like, if a student comes, I guess maybe the student has COVID and brings the book back, then they have to quarantine. They can't just like wipe the book down. They have to quarantine the book for us.
Yeah, that seems like an extra step.
Like it's just unnecessary.
Like, I don't know. I don't. Yeah.
Was it setting it in an empty space for a couple of days is gonna wipe the germs off more than some Lysol?
Just like COVID goes to sleep at 10 p.m. when all the bars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's where a lot of people's outrage is coming from,
And
mostly.
I'd agree. I wanted people, because it would end party lines. Like, look, have you, in our lifetime, because we're about the same, nowhere has the government just like given the people $1,200, like, to where they.
Which again, just because they've never done it doesn't mean they shouldn't have.
No. I'm not saying they shouldn't. But I mean, it was desperate. They acted swiftly. That was back in March. And then nothing has been done. So not to get like super on like nothing has been done, because we all know. But like they want us to act like the world is okay and we should not work or we should not go out. But nothing has been done since March.
It's truly wild. And not to get like super meta or like at the risk of sounding like almost like socialist about it. It's like we have been so trained as Americans to think that like this is like we should feel guilty for this or like we should
Betty, I can do it, you know.
We can blame people. We can blame people who are. If you don't want to, people are making more money off this, so they're not working. That's a problem. Like, but it's not the problem you're thinking.
Yeah.
Like, it's a completely opposite. Like, how did you get that people not wanting to work 40 hours a week at some shitty job and make less money? How they're the problem?
Yeah.
Clearly, the people like how. What kind of mental boomer ass gymnastics did you have to come out to riddle me that?
I don't even know if this will make it, but don't get me started on my hatred of the boomer and my parents' generation. And
I can't. Thank God I'm not a boomer. Thank fucking God.
Like my mom, they don't understand the concept of maybe I'm worth more than slaving my life away to a job that doesn't give a fuck about me.
It's truly wild, and I feel like every generation has had a little bit less of, but my mom's Gen X it would be, so that's the one below boomers, right? She's 40.
Yeah, I think Gen X had no one, that's
right.
just lost
so
generation.
It's the way she thinks of things in terms of like capitalism, and she's like a staunch liberal, hates Trump, always have. We hated Trump way before it was cool.
It's cool.
We hated him since that Miss America incident where he like tried to dethrone her for getting like fat. Even though she was like a size 8, she was not fat at all.
Yeah.
But even she, growing up in like the 80s, where there was like all of that like Cold War propaganda about how Russians are the devils and communism is bad and fucking we have to stop the spread of it, and Cuba got fucked up. It got thrown in the mix, like all of that. And she's like, well, all I know is that every communist country is a shithole. And I'm like, dude, you sound just as ignorant as other people. You can't see how like they've also been taught to think our way is bad. You know what I mean? So it is just crazy, like the generational relationship with monetary value.
Oh yeah.
And I'm happy that we're getting away from it, like so much that like we can see now that it's not directly equivalent to our self-worth. Like it's and I'm just talking about like generally well-off people. I don't mean like those or whatever. It's fine if you're comfortable, and I'm happy for you. Maybe you got to work from home, maybe you didn't have to. Like that's fine and good for you, but definitely like try to have a bit of perspective. I just hate when people can't even like, they're like, I heard a lot of, especially when the shutdown first happened, they're like, well, you should have been saving money. And it's like, wow, what a fucking piece of shit thing to say. Like, like as if every poor person was just gonna be like, why did I think of that? I should have been, guys, did you hear we should have been saving money? Like, what the fuck is that?
I mean, because even if you did your little best and people like $10 here, if you save $10 a week, it's been 10 months, okay? This has been a 10-month. You think that?
I saw the saddest thing. I don't know why I was so fucking high, and I was just on Groupon. And I went on in so long. I don't know what I was. I don't know how I wound up there. I was just so stoned, and I saw this really sad thing that it was like, kind of like, not astronaut food, but you know that like stuff they give the military that they just never goes bad.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
It's like kind of like you know what I'm talking about.
It's
right?
like powder food you add with water.
Yeah,
you can take
like
it camping
and shake it up. And I saw this thing on Grubhub where it was like 3 meals a day for 365 days, or you could go another, or no, it was like 3 months supply, 6 months supply, a year supply, and it was like $200. But like I did the math, and it was like 6 cents a meal. Ooh. No, of course, but like the fact that any of them had been sold in a first world country.
Yeah.
Because of the situation we're in, you know what I mean? Like maybe some of the people just wanted to be savvy. I'm not knocking them either, whether it was out of
minimalist,
necessity.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not knocking them. None of that is a judgment on anyone, except for the fact that it's even necessary in
a first
history on Earth.
That healthcare shouldn't be.
Dude, you know how many bartenders I know with a dead tooth? Like
yeah, hey, I pulled out my own teeth. Okay, we don't get.
Yeah. On some what's that Tom Hanks with Castaway?
Yeah.
Some Castaway shit.
Like it's just
No, it is. It's sad and it's crazy that like and that this isn't the natural way to think about things because of the indoctrination, and I feel bad for them, honestly. I know we said we were going to go off a rant about boomers. Well, no, I feel bad for them until they start like talking.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
but it's boomers, yes, but it's so much like, look at the map. Like I'm in the heart of the map. It's how do we reach that middle America, that not even middle, the small town America? Because Oklahoma City, where I'm staying, has a Democratic mayor, is where the part of the city where I'm staying in downtown is mainly Democratic. And then you go out to the suburbs and from the small towns.
Oh yeah, you take one toe over the line, and it's like, and it's like, that's another thing. Just going to tie it back to like the pandemic itself. Like it's just crazy that you have to think about things as Democratic or Republican. Trump did a really good job at making this political when it doesn't need to be at all.
No, it's medical really and scientific, not to get how they've been saying for months.
Okay, yeah, like that's let's say that like, it is somehow like a conspiracy theory. Like you think the whole world.
That's what I'm saying, not just us.
Like China and Russia and like all these people that are like allegedly like our sworn enemies and our allies, France, England, all of it. Like you think they're all in on it across the board. Countries that have hated each other for millennia. If Serbia and Albania can agree that the virus is real, you know what I mean? Like countries that have been feuding for generations. But we're the only ones that are like, no. Like what do you mean no? Even if, but that's another thing. Like even if we found out 10 years from now by some miracle that it was in fact a hoax, the worst thing, like it's like it. Besides the economic repercussions, I'd be like, I'd wear a piece of cloth like over my face so I didn't kill people, and that's okay. yes, the economic part was like a true pitfall, and fuck you for letting it get that far. But you really do find people that think like that, like the mental gymnastics that people. I've talked to this. Oh my God bless his heart. He's so fucking stupid. I've known this regular since, we'll call him Mike. You know, he's like he's like conservative, religious. We don't get any of them, especially not in the East Village.
I was like in New York, East Village bar.
He's also Puerto Rican, which is like, I know. Yeah. Because it's like, I know for a fact, because I've known him for almost 10 years. Like, I know his family. I've spent Christmases with him. Like, it's a close-knit bar that I've been at for forever. Like, it's not like, but I'm like, dude, I know for a fact that some of your family still their homes are not completely repaired from Maria because of Trump. Like, how are you specifically, like, I'm not saying that, like, if you're brown, you have to be a Democrat, but I'm like, you specifically as a Puerto Rican man living in New York, like the most liberal place in the country, in the most liberal section of the most liberal area of the, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, how, but I swear to God, this man, every time I tell this story, I just have to, he goes, my whole family's mad at me because I don't want to get a COVID test before Thanksgiving to go see my mom. And he's old, he's like 50, so his mom's like in her 80s. And I was like, all right, like, I feel like I'm gonna regret this, but like, why? and he was like, no, because I don't want him to have like my shit, like I don't want him to have like my DNA or whatever. And I was like, you're a janitor, and there's nothing wrong with that, but why? Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but like, why the fuck would they want your DNA? And he was like, no, for like, you know, like they're gonna, and also for statistics, like they're gonna say that it was positive when it's not. And I was like, okay, who the fuck is they? Who's they? Who is doing this? And he was like, the government. I was like, but every government is doing it. So why would they want your DNA? And then this motherfucker, I swear to fucking God, he goes, well, the Illuminati. And I was like, shut the fuck up. I could not believe that he brought the Illuminati into this to justify not getting a COVID test before he saw his elderly mother on Thanksgiving. Illuminati. Yes, the Illuminati wants your DNA. Let's be specific, because I could see them wanting, like, you know, I don't know.
A young, fertile virgin.
Yeah, someone.
I don't know.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah,
whatever.
like.
May she rest in peace, but like, why the fuck, if they wanted anyone's DNA, why the fuck would it be yours? Also, if you do in fact like subscribe to all the conspiracy theories about the Illuminati and about like this secret, ultra wealthy, like powerful society of people that like control everything, not only should you not be a Republican, you should be a fucking anarchist. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You should not subscribe to any of the systems, especially not the one you're subscribing to. You know, if you know anything about like the concept of the Illuminati, you would know that like you are their target. Like, not their target, but like you're the masses that they're controlling.
Yeah, you're not the elite.
Again, not your target. You will never be their direct target, but you would be part of like the people that they're allegedly manipulating. You idiot. You should be living off berries in the woods, teaching yourself how to forage if you don't want the Illuminati to get to you. But when people say stuff like the Illuminati, wait, sorry, so what did he say? The babies?
You don't know because that Illuminati was when we were in high school, and the new one is QAnon. I know Illuminati is still there, but QAnon is the one that the politicians, Hillary and Biden, for them, they they wipe the blood of babies, and Bill Gates does that. That's why he's helping all the AIDS and Africans to get water, is because he's killing young babies and putting their blood on their skin to.
Jesus fucking Christ. And like, again, there's like a split second of pity. Yeah. Followed immediately by outrage. You know what I mean? But that's, you're right. I would never try and reason.
But I mean, no, I try to, but how do you make an argument for someone who that's their argument? Yeah, you can't.
On someone that genuinely believed in like Pizzagate or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you start getting into like that level,
you can't.
But if someone's just like, I'm a Trump supporter, I'm not going to go out of my way to be friendly with them. Mm-hmm. But if it comes up in a political discussion and they seem like an otherwise reasonable person, like I'll fucking talk to you about it. I'm not gonna like explore the possibility of a friendship with you afterwards, but like whatever. Like I'm not gonna automatically hate. Like I'm like, all right, let's talk. Let's have a conversation. That's fine. I just don't run into them that often.
I mean,
it's when it's only when one, they're too stupid to argue with because they believe in shit. Because they think the Illuminati is trying to stop them from getting a COVID test, like whatever, like, or like, I don't know, like, you're just not affected, or you don't see how you're affected by like the decisions that these people are making. Like, they're not actively taking away your rights, or they are, and you just don't care, or don't want to see it, or whatever, you know. Because you said you mentioned your friend is black, the one that you were just talking about.
No, these brothers, they're half Hispanic, half white.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I don't understand how you could share an ideology with people who, like, I don't know, like they actively don't want you to feel comfortable. Like I can't speak for them, but like, you know, if like the one that I was referring to, this Puerto Rican man, like if you shook Trump's hand, like he would douse himself in Purell afterwards. Like, you know, women, all the white women out there that voted for Trump, or God forbid, Latinas for Trump. That's another thing that you know what I mean?
That's only in Florida.
Oh my God. Do you follow All Gas No Brakes?
No. I need to write that down.
Please watch it. It's so good. It's just like this super young guy who like goes to like, it's not specifically Republican shit. It's like he goes to like a flat earth convention. He went to like the rocket launch in Florida, and he interviewed like all these like conservative Cubans. It's just wild. Just check him out. It's really funny. But he's super deadpan. Like he's actually probably one of the better reporters, ironically, because he doesn't add opinion. He just asks questions and lets people be stupid
themselves.
But it's like you're like, dude, he actively mocked a woman for accusing a Supreme Court justice of rape. Like he mocked her openly on international. Like, how are you justifying it? How deep is the hatred of your own gender or whatever group you identify with? How deep does that run that you would support a man like that? You know what I mean?
That is what I do have to say about, not to like shout out, but women who do support Trump. I'm like, he has I feel like has given no fucks. You know what I mean?
He hasn't even tried to pretend like he doesn't, like, and it's just like, even if one of any of the things that have been said about him are true, like that's still not enough. Nothing, like no part of you would even consider. That's actually the All Gas No Brakes guy is at a Trump rally, and one of them, and he asks like a bunch of women, like white women, and he was like, you don't think a woman can be president? And she's like, oh no, it's a man's job. Women get like emotional, and you know, they can start a war. And he was like, well, haven't all wars been started by men? Like every single one of them. And she's like, well, yeah, but and I was just like, okay, dude, like, but that, like, I don't know, you can't make people apply critical thought. I'm proud of you, and you're really brave for going into like the fucking hotbed, like the epicenter, you know what I mean? Like Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It must, because like I'm not forced to interact really with people. Like that guy that I mentioned is like a complete and total outlier. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, the East Village, New York is like a total, but like, I think that might not even be that much of a good thing. Like you can get stuck in an echo chamber or whatever. But in a place like Oklahoma or any purple state or any, like, when there's like you're forced to cohabitate, like it just must be crazy. Like,
I feel like
to just shit roll off your shoulder constantly.
I mean,
everyone has a gun.
Yeah. Oh no, and it's not even a joke. It's like you go and I haven't gone out much in the last few months, but usually when you go out to any restaurant, you go anywhere, there's any restaurant, there's a couple people with guns. There's like going in, all that, and it's just the stuff I
But
thought.
masks are dangerous.
I thought I was gonna be okay, and my uncle was like trying to give me an opportunity to want to be here longer, but I don't think I'm ready to be that small fish or big fish in a small pond. Like I can't take being surrounded by a bunch of red, you know.
Necks or just red.
Well, just a bunch of not small. This, and I don't want to be small-minded. I don't like saying uneducated. It's just unwillingness to adapt. I would say more.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to. You're not willing
and also,
to.
Like, there's a lot of shit we have to heal. Like, in lieu of this, like, don't get me wrong, like the day that Trump lost was like a great day and like everyone was really happy, but oh my God, it was so good. I wish you were in New York.
Everyone was partying. I'm like,
it was so good. It was so good. I was having sex when I heard the horn start going, and I was like, that. I was like, are those angry horns? They sound like angry horns. He's like, no, I think they're happy. And I just opened my window, and this lady runs out of her house, and I thought she was on the phone. And she just screams, I'm so fucking happy! And she wasn't talking to anyone. She just ran out. Oh my God. I was in Tompkins Square Park. My friends just left me there because I couldn't stop. Like, there was like, everyone was just walking around with like huge amps and speakers and like wagons, like, Born in the USA.
Man.
Like, dude, it felt like I was on Molly. Like, it was like just the best day in so long. Like, you could literally feel the tension just completely bad, just for one day.
It was a weight. That's what just a weight lifted off, like, for one day.
We're just getting like real off the rails now. I know you wanted to talk about bartending, but did you see that Trump said that if the electoral votes came in and he'd still lost, then he would finally secede, which he didn't. But that's exactly how he won in the first place. Like, that was like Hillary Clinton won technically by like 2 million more votes or something like that, and he had the audacity with a straight face to say that, like, to like a media outlet, and I was just like,
I don't know when that was, but I admit I was afraid. I was getting really afraid of the election until he came out, and when he came out, and like they were saying the whole time he was going to call it fraud. As soon as he had that press conference at like 1 a.m. and called it fraud, I'm like, okay, I was freaking out because he was winning, but I'm like, we're going to win because mail-in ballots. He called fraud. That's what they said weeks ago he was going to call fraud. And I'm like, he's doing what they said.
I don't think that I was certainly not surprised by that. And I don't think anyone,
Were you not afraid when he was winning because of red?
Yeah, dude, I had a go bag bag on election night.
That's all I'm saying.
No, of course I was fucking terrified. I was like, and yes, I was extremely worried about the impending civil war, of course. But I was also not surprised by any of his behavior because I've trained myself not to be at this point, just for my own.
I was drunk come like midnight. I'm like, you shouldn't be drunk watching the dude on CNN do the election results for 6 hours.
You must be drunk. You must.
You must.
You must. And I don't even want to come across like I'm such a staunch Democrat. Like, fuck the Democrats too. Yeah. I just don't want people's basic human rights being compromised. And I think that you're a bunch of spineless fucking cowards too. I hate all career politicians. Mm-hmm. It's just, at least they're trying, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at least there's like some representation or something. Like, there's, some earth tones. Like, I don't know. Like, anything to fucking just break up the exact same, like, milquetoast Republican rhetoric that's been governing us for forever. Like,
I try and tell I'm like, because a lot of Republican friends from Texas and Oklahoma go, I'm like, if the government all sucks, because now you want to claim just like government is all bad, but don't you want the people who at least want to help you specifically? Like, if it's all horrible and they all do suck,
even if they're pandering for your vote,
which
sucks.
But go for the one who's going to do the most for you.
they don't think of it like that. I feel like I can, but I also see like Democrats get caught up in stuff like this. Like, you know, I think that both sides can be extremely judgmental.
Oh yeah.
Myself included.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hell yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I went to my friend's apartment the other day. There was like 6 or 7 people there.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't wear masks the entire time. We were just drinking. And then I saw like on the news, and it was like Republican, like something like it was like it was just like a club of Republicans. I really forget like what, like got busted in a bar after hours, like with no one had a mask on, and I was like, disgusting. And then I like realized I did the same thing. Like probably not as many people, but still, like I just hate gatekeeping, and I have to check myself often on doing it. I'm like, am I hating them? Like, am I bristling at the fact that they're a Republican just automatically and without question, or are their actions actually egregious? You know.
Well, my only thing with what?
I really do try to force myself to check in with whether or not I'm just classifying them as like a dumb redneck or, you know what I mean? Like I have to work hard to make sure I'm checking that I'm not just being judgmental, because if I hate a political party for being judgmental and not welcoming to other people, like I'm not going to do the exact same thing. You know what I mean? Or at least I'm going to try not to.
I don't judge.
I know political parties, eons different than like race, gender, sexual orientation, whatever. But like, if it's the name of the game is not being judgmental, I'm going to try
your best.
Like, I'm going to try my personal best, which is not that good, but I'm going to try.
I mean, I get that, because I mean, bartending is with customer service. It's like you want to do your best to keep it in your head, not to externalize what's in your head, because it's going to go through your head, regardless or not.
I would say that that's probably normally the case, like in 90% of bars, but I definitely kicked out a Trump supporter once. I was like, I don't know, he was just being so fucking stupid, and I just didn't want to look at his hat. You know what it was? It was like the peak of the protests.
Yeah.
And shit was like really going down, and tensions were really high. And he came in with like a regular within a Trump hat, and I was like, I'm not fucking fuck you, fuck off. Like, you know what you're doing. I know you know what you're doing. You want to be inflammatory. You want to be, you know. Yeah. So here you go, motherfucker. I'm giving you the exact reaction you were hoping for. Yeah. Enjoy this shit. Get the fuck out of my bar. Like, you know, and it's just like and like it was even more than like just overt like bigotry. I think that I hate like complacency in the face of like it was more. I think it's more harmful. It was more harmful that like one of my regulars, who I wasn't like friends with, but like friendly, like hangs out often, like we've talked, brought him in and like let him wear his hat in a place he knows there's, you know, where it's just not fucking
That's
cool.
not the vibe.
And I'm like,
that's not the environment.
This isn't like, you know, I know this is like a tired talking piece, but this isn't just a difference in political opinion, like a difference in like how we should be spending our, you know, budget on the military. You know what I mean? Like that's even a bad example. But like this isn't tax law. Like this is literally you're doing harm to people. Like you're harming people in a really sensitive time in our history. So like, no, fuck off. I'm not gonna make you feel comfortable. Why do you get to feel comfortable and I don't though? Is really but yeah, I don't know. Crazy times. How much of this are you gonna use?
I mean, I'm gonna use most of it because like I did have
edit out the parts that make me seem trashy. Okay. Just that's all I ask. Like,
because I had a bunch of questions, but like you answered most of the questions just in like a conversation without me having to really bring up the the questions, and then went and expanded on a little other areas too. So.
Sorry. Do you want to ask anything?
No, like I said, you answered all the questions, but without me having to ask the questions. They were just like answered.
Oh.
Yeah. And yeah, you did the podcast better than I wanted. Like maybe it should have went. No. It's like you took over the interview. You just interviewed yourself. It's fine.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, I should have brought the bottle. Wait. No, let me get the tequila if we're going to do a shot.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, you got Montezuma. Gross.
Hey. I get well because I just make cocktails at home, okay? So.
No, well, no one here is knocking well tequila. Okay?
That's what.
I feel like that would be like my AOL name or something if like it was still around. But oh, by the way, do you remember?
I'm
this?
looking at you.
I wore it for Halloween again this year. Oh my god! I was also telling this guy that I'm seeing about like I was trying to sell him on doing acid.
Yeah.
And I'm so confident on acid. I disarmed a man I disarmed a man once. Like, I swear to fucking God, I like forgot that happened. I like just buried it for like a month. And then remember I texted you and was like, that for sure happened though, right? Like that wasn't me just like tripping balls or whatever. And yeah, we did that.
Now you came up New York just fucking everyone's like freaking out of this man. And you just
no. Give it.
Just that's not happening on my watch.
I feel like he was so confused by me.
He did.
He was just because he wasn't speaking English,
yeah,
and the Dutch bartender who didn't say thank you, by the way.
Yeah, just like, oh, okay.
He was like, oh, I called the cops. I was like, oh, you guys don't have cops.
What's gonna happen at 2 a.m? You know.
Yeah, you guys don't have cops in Amsterdam. You have carpet in your jail cell.
That's like, yeah, nothing was like the streets were so quiet. Yeah, we're drunk, yelling.
It was wild because like I went to Amsterdam in like 2015 or something, and it was not like it was a lot quieter this time around. Really? I just felt like shit shut down earlier. Yeah.
Oh.
I had a very different experience last time. I didn't stay in a hostel. Like I still fucking partied, but it was like, I don't know. I just feel like there was a lot of like, you know, the street our hostel was on, like you'd walk out and it would just be like so empty. And
yeah.
It was like, it was very strange. Still like the best ever.
Good times. Yeah.
I was actually talking to, do you remember that British kid I was with? Like the one in the vet?
Dance.
The one that danced. I'm like, oh wow.
It just ran into the night.
Oh, I love that kid so much. No, we still talk. He was actually gonna come visit me here because we met in Korea and then we met up again in Amsterdam.
That is fucking dope.
Like a year later, and then he was because his birthday's in December, so he was gonna come here again. And I was like, damn, I miss traveling so much.
Oh, I do too.
Well, you know, there's like certain countries that are just giving away visas because they need like the economic stimulation. Like Georgia is one of them.
What kind of works in Georgia? I know I could just do anything. But
No, not work, but you can work remotely and like live in like this beautiful, warm, dope place with beautiful women and like a lot of cool ass culture.
But I feel like
Georgia is definitely gonna be different because they've kind of got this like Middle Eastern-y thing going on just because it's so close to the border of like.
I mean, I don't.
By Syria and all that, but I was in Eastern Europe like before I got to Amsterdam, and it's fucking dope out there, dude. They don't give a fuck, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Like all that Soviet bloc, like they like when I was in Serbia, they would like get mad at me for like asking permission to do something. Like I'd be like, oh, can I is this an okay place to like smoke a cigarette? And they're like, it's Serbia. Like that was like always their answer. I was like, I'm sorry.
We're free from
you.
Soviet Russia.
I think it was more so like we're fucking fresh out of a civil war from like the 90s. Why the fuck would I care if you smoked a cigarette? Fine. I've seen when shit matters. This clearly doesn't matter. Like they're like a happy people now. Yeah. I just think like the fresh wounds of civil unrest made it so they were like, why the fuck is this bitch asking me about using the bathroom? Like, why wouldn't you just walk in and use it? You know what I mean? But
you didn't know too. The reason I honestly came down here was only for a couple months. I was supposed to move to China.
What? Why?
Because
That's
when I
awesome.
lost my job over COVID, and then I was looking for something else, and I found going over there to teach English, and I'm like, fuck it, like why
Do you have a
not?
bachelor's?
Huh?
Do you have a bachelor's?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, that's what I said. It took 6.5 years, but I finally finished my bachelor's. Yeah, I was like,
I am not nervous to go back to school. I'm pretty excited. I just want to. It's shitty when you're a woman because I want to have kids eventually, and like
yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna have to like bang out like all this like I'm not gonna be like one of those pregnant women in community college. Fuck that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's super respectable, but like I just want to bang it out and like be successful
But
and have be able to have a baby. But I'm 28, so it's like I'm gonna be cutting it real close.
I mean, I
So
don't care about that. Just because I have my degree, I'm practically 27 in like what 15 days. To where in the same instance of like without
are
having
you
really any huh
Aquarius or Capricorn? You're
Capricorn, without any real like working experience with the degree, it's like almost in the same boat. So what I would just say is go in with knowing not only kind of like figuring out what exactly you want to do with your degree, use everything that the college has. Like you need an internship, use the resources, because if you don't, it's pointless. Because that's kind of like what I felt like my experience. Yes, I have the degree, but I didn't use any of the resources that really college is for, so the degree is pointless. So yes, I have the piece of paper, but
So I am strategically going back for psychology because I think because to be a therapist, which is like you will make good money as
yeah,
like
then
that's
you
all
need
I
your
care about. Like
masters.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want to take a fucking pay cut. And then if I really like it, I could go for my PhD and like be like a
yeah,
psychologist or whatever. I feel like there's a more direct path, but like at minimum, like it'll only take me like 5 years or something like
yeah.
that. Because I'm
Buckle
gonna bang
down,
this shit.
get that shit over
Yeah,
with, get that
I
master's
can't
in
be
five
fucking.
years.
I have 1 year of credits already.
Yeah,
Um, but like I'm really trying to put some vinegar on this so I
yeah,
can like, you know, um, but then at least like a master's is like 2 years,
hmm
maybe I can do it in less time if I like really put my back into it. But I could also be eating my words. I could go back to school and be like, fuck this. I knew I was right to drop out. But I do like learning.
yeah.
It just was never like afforded to me, like literally afforded. You know what I mean? Like
Um,
it was like I'm not gonna go broke doing something I don't even know, like nothing that I'm good at, or nothing that I enjoyed and could be propelled forward by a college degree.
yeah.
And then I got into psychology, and I was like, okay, that's something.
hmm
Like I can I can magic something. That's technically a science.
Yeah.
Like, you know. But hey, I'm gonna go because teen mom. But it was so good to see you again. You should come back to New York.
Oh, don't worry. My childhood, my friend who I've known just as long as I've been adopted, lives in the city, and he's good off. Like, yeah, he has a 2 bedroom. So.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say my friend that I've known for forever was a teen mom.
No.
I was like, oh shit, yeah. So you've lived it.
Yeah, I know that life, girl.
Did I tell her I said she's probably really strong?
Yeah.
Like, anyway, yeah, it was so good to talk to you again.
Hopefully, I'll see you in another country, not New York. That's where I'm
Yes.
trying to see you.
The second we're allowed to, let's meet in like fucking somewhere wild. I want to go somewhere like Azerbaijan or something. I don't know.
I'm down.
Somewhere crazy.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye, Kristen.
Good to see you.